goes into the arena. Now, if you're wondering what's going on, why have we got a truck in here when it's tractors? Well, this is basically a tractor. Variants of tractors coming in right from the crossover truck tractor with the Unimog. Got the Thornton Major from the 1950s, and that's a bit of a modification done to it. They were built with a 4-cylinder diesel engine. Keep going round, keep going round. Built with a 4-cylinder diesel engine. However, that just wasn't good enough for Johnny, so he went into local scrap dealers and managed to find a combine harvester. Now, the technology moves so fast with combine harvesters. They're only used for 12 weeks of the year. But there was a lot of combine harvesters that were out of date with a very, very good engine inside them. So taking the engines out of those, put them into the Thornton Major, Ford-derived engine into a Ford tractor, fits in reasonably well. In fact, it fits in very well and gives it more power and torque. So there's a 6-cylinder engine in that Thornton Major when there should have been a 4. Makes it a fantastic tractor for all sorts of things, including going on the road runs. They're capable of about 30 miles an hour on the road. The iconic little grey Ferguson just going past me right now. You can still get pretty much all the parts of these little vehicles, and they're relatively inexpensive as well. Horticultural world down at the rollers, very, very much like the John Deere. Single cylinder petrol engine in there. We've got the International B414, and some of these vehicles built fairly locally. There were 2 factories, one in Bradford and in Doncaster. I'm pretty sure that was a Bradford tractor, but I might be wrong. And another little compact tractor going past the commentary box, a Ford 1220. Now it does say Ford on the bonnet, and it is supposedly a genuine Ford. However, it's badge engineered. It's actually a Japanese tractor with a Ford badge stuck on. I'm telling you about the Thornton Major. Well, Thornton Major's little brother, and that's the Dexter. Blue tractor with orange wheels, named after the cow. Small and powerful, read it. A majority of the vehicles in here run on diesel. However, we have got a few petrol-powered vehicles, and one of them is a little grey Ferguson straight in front of me. It took a while to convince the farmers, which weren't that long ago, previously using a horse and cart, that a tractor with a petrol engine was a good idea. They were finally convinced that it was, and then some clown came in with a diesel engine. So once again, they're like, oh, hang on a minute, you've just convinced us that petrol's a good idea. Is diesel, this newfangled fuel, good as well? So it did take a good few years for the agricultural industry to eventually move to diesel. Which of course, the agricultural industry is now pretty much based upon fully. So next we've got a Zeta. Now I'm not sure whether it's a Zeta or a Zeta. A lot of the farmers, all they could afford was a tractor, so once again they made the cabs massive so they could get the whole family in and take them shopping, take them to church or whatever they wish to do. You could get numerous passengers in there. I've driven a Zeta with 7 passengers in the cab. It is possible. So here we've got a field marshal just coming past the commentary box right now. Got a real sound about them, and if you sat on the floor and he comes past you, you'll probably be able to feel this tractor running as well as hear it. And they're on a single cylinder, 2-stroke diesel engine. But it's about a 4-litre diesel engine on one cylinder. And last but certainly not least is the David Brown 990. Now, that's the most popular tractor that David Brown ever produced. Right, let's get the Ford up first. Ford made tractors down in Dagenham, nice flat part of the world. As a David Brown man, I always think, well, Fords, they made them down south. Known as the TE20, TE Tractor England, 20 denotes 20 horsepower. Now I think this vehicle is possibly a TED. Now you think D means diesel, wouldn't you? But it means petrol TVO. So you would run this tractor up on petrol and then run it onto tractor vaporising oil, which to Pickering Fair used to take me 10 hours. I loved it, not so much for the cars that were behind me. So next up we've got the U. So next up we've got Johnny. I was talking about this track going around the arena, and this tractor would have started off life with a little false, well, little is fairly big. One of the fun parts of that show as well, when you park up, it's a short walk from the car park to the showground. So that tractor is going to be pulling a road train. You'll be able to get on the road train from the car park into the showground. Next up we've got Sam. Now Sam is still, this vehicle is still working, isn't it? I believe he'll have come straight out of the field yesterday. Now you don't have to have a big fancy tractor to go out on. Those old David Browns that Sam uses still very, very reliable and more than capable of doing a day's work. Now we're going over the water now. This is Czechoslovakian tractor. Still fairly new. If you went out to Czechoslovakia, you wouldn't see them that colour. Out in Czech, they're painted blue. Only the export models which come to this country and the rest of the world are painted in that colour. So we might think that we've got a little grey Ferguson next. However, someone just had a little bit too much red paint. Is this... Now right on cue, we were talking about the little grey Ferguson, built thousands and thousands of them. So it's absolutely fine to do a bit of a modification with one. This one is in... They get into the them and their family get into the show for free, as long as you fetch the exhibit. So buy yourself a little tractor or a mug or something like that, enter into the show, and it will get you free entry into the show for you and your family. You must get those 3-point linkages on every tractor that is sold today, unless you opt. Now Leyland, what do we think? When we think of Leyland, we think of rusty old Metros. Certainly what I do. And wagons that used to rot out in these grey Fergies are dependent on what you want to use it for. Thank you. Next up, we've got a little Ford. Now this is, it says Ford on it, but it's actually the tractor manufacturers still producing tractors in the UK are New Holland. Next we've got the Alice Chalmers, the ED40. I like these tractors, I also like the colour of them. So Alice Chalmers was an American. Now going from what we would say so under-engineered to a vehicle that's over-engineered. Now the ideas were that tractor won't run with that exhaust on it, without that exhaust on it. It's a specialist exhaust designed for the 2-stroke diesel engine. Now last but certainly not least, David Brown 990. The David Brown 990 is the most popular tractor that David Brown ever produced. So he's going to get our tractors to drive around the arena. I'm going to try and remember a little bit about the tractors as we go past to relay the information. No, you were too late, Rocco. They've set off from this end. So once again, a huge thank you to all our tractor drivers for collecting them into the arena. Got everything from the foreign, there's fairly modern vehicles to some fairly early ones, some very common vehicles and some very, very rare ones as well. In the next few minutes we are going to be welcoming motorbikes into the arena. They're going to be coming in at 12 o'clock. So in around 15 minutes time we are going to be welcoming motorbikes into the arena. Right up at the front there we've got the David Brown 990. Known as the Implematic, that one. Not too after that particular tractor was built, they went to a cream and brown livery. And they changed the styling from that rounded 50-60 styling to a slightly more angular 70 styling. And that was to, of course, move with the times and also get into the American market. There was a tractor company in America called Boland's that made little tractors. And David Brown, they had a word with them and said, we could do with introducing our bigger tractors into the UK, into the USA market. If we team up with you and use a similar colour scheme, that should help us into the USA market. Now, no doubt there was some money exchanged hands, and they changed the livery from that one that you can see there to their brown and cream livery, which copied the Boland's company, which already had their feet under the table there in the world of America. And that's how David Brown got themselves into the American market, simply by copying. right now I've got the Zeta, they're made in Czechoslovakia. On a day like today, you really don't want to be having a cab on your tractor. Those cabs really designed more for safety than for the weather. And they're more of a cage that goes over the top of the tractor in case it was to roll over. Roll the tractor over without a roll bar or any rollover protection. It does generally end up quite messy. What on earth the truck is doing in here in the form of that moving mod. That is basically a tractor with a truck body on the top of it. That's a nice basic, what I would regard as starter tractor, just going past the commentary box down a little grey Ferguson, also the International V404. Nice affordable vehicle. Capable of going out on a road run, doing a day's work and having loads of fun on as well. Just coming into the arena, pretty much how it all began. Goes John Deere. Got to be very thankful to the Americans for their innovations in tractor development. The old model being principally the petrol engine in it. And John Deere started their company at 160 years ago now. And they started by making plough blades for horse-drawn implements. Together with other people, they developed a tractor called the Waterloo Boy. If you go and look at a stationary engine, it's basically a stationary engine that's been walked on to wheels. Into a mechanical horse. Still use a horse-drawn implement behind those very, very early tractors. And there goes Adam on his run. Needs that back pressure in order for it to run. So next we've got the B&B President. Looks like a bit of a bits and pieces tractor, doesn't it? We've had two Fords and Majors in. This is the Fordson Dexter. The Fordson Dexter, named after the cow, which is small. We've got a little Yanmar. Now the Yanmar is built out in Japan. What we got here? Yanmar 1401B. The code goes up to 1984, but could be earlier. And was this one built? Were they built out in Japan? These? Yes, yeah. Quite sought after as well. Not what you would class as a cheap disposable tractor. They're going for about £4,000 and £5,000 of these. Still, a lot of them still in everyday use. It's great to see one here. Very popular on campsites, four-wheel drive. These will pretty much crawl a house side, won't they? Oh yeah, that's right. Very, very good tractors. Great to see you here. Thank you. I just look at the back tyres on that. I like shovels. The driver just saying that the rice paddy tyres for the paddy fields. So this is a little grey Ferguson with all the whistles and bells attached to it. So we've got a little ransom crawler saying this engine developed by Sturmey Archer, more familiar with the little 3-speed bike gearboxes, and no steam. Super agile. Go on, tell us a bit more about the tractor.
MG2, built about 1938 we think, and a little 6-horse petrol engine on it.
And you can get numerous different implements for the back, can't you? There's a bar that goes up and down on the back, so you can have a plough on there, numerous different things, basically for the horticultural world. The waterboard also had a lot of these, and they turned them into dumper trucks. And yes, they were carrying what you think they're carrying about the place. This one wasn't used for that purpose, this one has been used in horticulture. Great to see it in here, thank you for fetching it in. I think we've just got the 2 field marshals left now. We're having a bit of a conflab. Are you coming up to see us? Like I said earlier, these field marshals, they're not the most comfortable to sit on while they are just ticking over. So rightly so, the drivers will just sit at the side. And I'll blow some smoke rings. And these tractors are built in Gainsborough, down in Lincolnshire. What we've got here. They're a 5-litre diesel engine on 1 cylinder, and the diameter of the piston is about 6 inches on 1 cylinder. That's why they've got that real rocking movement when they're ticking over. Right now, we're going to do a couple of laps of honour. So a huge thank you to all our tractor drivers for fetching them into the arena, and a huge welcome to the Sheffield Steam Rally 2025. It's great to see so many people here today. Right, we've ordered this wonderful weather for you, so please maintain hydrated throughout the day. Drink plenty of water. You can buy the water, but there's also taps along the top of the showground, behind the large steam, going all the way around to the hilltop against the hedge. Please maintain hydration throughout the day. Keep plenty of sun cream on as well. We've seen a lot of red-faced people over the past 12 hours, 24 hours or so. So please maintain hydration as the day goes on. We do have a full first aid team on site. We don't want to keep them too busy. We did have a few instances of people flaking out yesterday, so please maintain hydration throughout the day. Also, I must stress that there is no vehicle movement up until 5 o'clock this afternoon. So any exhibitors and traders, please no vehicle movement unless you're going to or from the arena up until 5 o'clock this afternoon. Next up, I believe we are going to have motorbikes in the arena. They're coming at 12 o'clock. I'm not quite sure whether I'm running in front of or behind time. Didn't put my phone, well to be honest I haven't charged my phone up since Friday afternoon. I have no idea what time it is, but 12 o'clock we are going to be welcoming motorbikes into the arena. I believe then 12:30 we've got small steam, is that right? 1:15 we've got large steam, 2:15 commercial vehicles, and 3 o'clock cars. The order of events is on the back of the cup. It has blown off already. And there's that beautiful John Deere beat, built out in, I believe it's Iowa, in America. 3-wheeler. Why is it a 3-wheeler? And that's so it can work between the rows. You can widen that back axle out, you see this stub, so you loosen off the wheel and pull it out and it's slight, wide and narrow that back axle out to a accommodate whichever application you're using it for. It's possible with pretty much all of these tractors. This is a different method. So this is absolutely going right now. You can adjust the dish of the wheel on the hub in order to make the tractor wider or narrower. So I used to, you're set quite wide, just pointed out there on the little Fergie, the red-bellied little Fergie there, set fairly wide. And when I used to farm up in the top of Huddersfield, I used to be up on the moor, so I used to set my tractors really quite wide so they wouldn't tip over when I was working on the hillside. So not only do you do it for whichever application, whether you're planting spuds or cabbages or whatever, you would also do it to maintain safety. So if you were working on the hillside, you make your tractor as wide as possible so it wouldn't tip over. Once they're in their stationary positions, we will be opening up the arena. So once again, huge thank you to our motorbike riders for betting them in.